All right, we've been really busy. Excited to show you a few of the big changes that are in Octave. Just a few 100,000 lines of new code. Let's see what I can show you in a few minutes here. Definitely not all of it. So, first thing, in the library you know and love, right? This is where you define your go-to-market, all of the elements associated with it. A lot of changes under the hood in terms of our context graph, how we're linking entities, nodes, edges, fun stuff. We'll save that for a technical follow-up later, but net to you, deeper, richer understanding we can feed your agents. Then some concrete changes. We now have products, services, and solutions. So again, a unique native concept that's already built in where you can have solutions as standalone entities or as combinations of products and services like many companies have themselves, right? Again, understanding built into this knowledge graph. We've also added things like alternatives, buying triggers, objections, right? So when you have these scenarios where maybe it's DIY or hire a contractor, not a named competitor, that's a concept that is now built in that we can feed to agents and again, tied to the right scenarios, right? When is that alternative most present and most likely to be there? Biggest change, new stuff, motions. Now Octave has an understanding around your different motions you're actually running, right? So what does it look like when you're tackling net new business opportunities versus upsell and expansion versus coming very soon, cross-sell, converting free to paid, renew and retain plays, obviously displacing incumbents, right? These all have really unique, nuanced requirements if you're going to run agentic plays, right? If you're going to help prep your team with tools that need to be savvy around all these scenarios. How do you get savvy? Well, you got to feed them a lot of detail and a lot of richness, right? So motions now natively understand all of your segments, all of your personas, right? This matrix that exists out in the real world that actually you have different levels of activity across, right? Octave is reading from your CRM, listening to your calls, your emails, trying to understand what's happening here, and then learning what's actually performing, right? So within each of these cells, we can start figuring out what's the right story, what are the right related things we should be talking about, what's working, what's not. Every week it's going to be updating this, right? Like waiting for enough signal and confidence to update your team and again, your agents at the end of the day, right? You can see it's pulling out language and pain points and what's actually happening, right? And then it pulls this in and it's giving you that back as rich, detailed messaging and positioning that's always up to date, fed to your agents, right? And again, we've taken it further. Now it has concepts built in around how does this change and morph across the funnel, right? How did things change from early stage, top of funnel conversations to late stage, trying to drive somebody to action, right? This is totally unique. And again, the cool part, ready to feed to your agents, right? This UI here, this is all to let you audit this when you want, but you're not spending time in here. This is for your agents to read, right? So via MCP, in Claude, via API, wherever you want, they can read from this real-time source of truth, no matter where it is, right? That's the power. The other thing we've updated, which is very cool, is we have brought playbooks into this new world, right? So imagine you're running this motion and you want to adapt it for a scenario like, how do we sell differently in the UK market, right? You can build playbooks that are adaptive to this, right? So this is a lens on that motion and instantly adapts all of that messaging and positioning for this unique scenario, right? For your agents or for your humans. The fun part here, these playbooks built in, again, thematic-based playbooks, milestone and trigger-based, geography-based, competitive, all these scenarios, you layer these over the motions, they continue to benefit from that same real-time learning, updating, self-healing property, right? Always rich, precise context with Octave, that's the key. Last thing I'll tease, much more to show later, but now we can derive many insights from this, right? So how are these different segments performing? What's working with them, right? What are we talking about? What's working in our calls and our deals, right? Mapped against your funnel. So tons more here. We'll save this for a later date. This is live. Time to get your hands on it. Can't wait to hear what you think.